Next, I will demo integration with Microsoft 365. The requirement for this is, it needs to be fully compatible with M365 Exchange Online. When an encrypted file is sent to Acme recipients, it should stay encrypted but allow the recipients to unencrypt or open it. When an encrypted file is sent to non-Acme recipients, they should not be allowed to unencrypt or read unless authorized. For certain MIP labels, when applied to an unencrypted file, the file should be encrypted automatically. For certain MIP labels, when applied to an encrypted file, the file should be unencrypted automatically. In use case 1, send a protected file via Outlook, Admin John Smith creates a domain policy to allow the users in the engineering department to have view, edit, and print rights with confidential classification. Bob Elliott protects PPTX docs with confidential classification. Bob Elliott emails the protected PPTX file as an attachment to James Brown and Rob White. James Brown receives the attachment in encrypted NXL format. James Brown copies the protected file to his local drive. James Brown can view the protected file. Rob White receives the attachment in encrypted NXL format. Rob White copies the protected file to his local drive. Rob White cannot view the protected file because he is not in the engineering department. I log into SkyDRM desktop application as Bob Elliott. I have already protected a PPTX file with confidential classification. Let's check it. The file has been protected with confidential classification, and Bob has view, edit, and print rights on this document. Next, Bob will email this file as an attachment to James Brown and Rob White. The document has been sent to James Brown and Rob White. I log into SkyDRM desktop application as James Brown. I check my email and see Bob Elliott sent me a confidential document. I open the email and there is an attachment. When I check my download folder, I see the folder is empty. So now I will download this attachment. I download the attachment in my local computer. Let's now check the permissions of this document. This document is protected with a confidential label. It has view, edit, and print rights. This is because James Brown is also a part of the engineering department. I log into SkyDRM desktop application as Rob White. I check my email and see Bob Elliott sent me a confidential document. Before I download this, I check my downloaded folder and confirm there are no files in this folder. I start to download the emailed file. The file is saved in my local drive in the download folder. Let's check the permissions of this document. I do not have any permissions on this document because Rob White is not in the engineering department. If I try to open the document, I will see an access denied message. This concludes Demo 1, send a protected file via Outlook. Use Case 2, interoperable with Microsoft Information Protection, MIP. James Brown sets the protection rules for secret and public. If the label is set to secret, the normal file is protected automatically. If the label is set to public, the NXL file is decrypted automatically. James Brown opens a docx file in Word, sets the MIP label to secret, and closes the file. The docx file is protected automatically with the same name. The original docx file is removed. James Brown opens the protected docx file, sets the MIP label to public, and closes the file. The docx file is decrypted automatically with the same name. The original protected file is removed. James Brown opens the normal docx file, sets the label to secret, and saves it as a new name. The docx doc is protected automatically with secret classification in a new NXL file. The new protected NXL file is opened automatically, showing the permissions of a protected file in Word. James Brown changes the MIP label to confidential, saves it, and closes the docx file. The protected docx file's classification is set to confidential and the file is kept as protected. Then the permissions of the protected file are selected from the menu and NextLabs ribbon in Word. James Brown runs Microsoft Classify and Protect tool. Select Protect with custom permissions. Choose as a reviewer, View, Edit, Permissions, enter james.brown@nxldemo.onmicrosoft.com, and select Users, Groups, or Organizations. Change the label to Secret and click on the Apply button. The docx file is protected by AIP. James Brown opens the docx file, saves the file, and closes it. The docx file is protected automatically by SkyDRM. James Brown opens the docx file protected by SkyDRM. The usage is controlled by AIP. The access is controlled by SkyDRM. I log into SkyDRM desktop application as James Brown. I go to the folder where I have the sample docx file. Let's open it. Now, the sensitivity label on this document is public. Let's change it to secret. Save the document and close the Word application. The sample docx file is protected automatically, and the NXL extension has been added as part of the protection. Let's check the permissions of this document. I have the following permissions on this document. Let's open this file again. I will change the sensitivity label back to public, save the document, and close the Word application. The file is decrypted automatically and is once again sample docx. I open the sample docx again and change the sensitivity label from public to secret. Then I use the function Save As to save the document. I close the Word application. In the folder, the original sample docx file is still there and has not been changed. The new file, titled sample2 docx, has been created and protected by SkyDRM. Let's check the permissions of this document. The user has all the rights on this document. I open the protected sample2 document and I change the sensitivity label from secret to confidential and save the document. I then close the Word application. The file is still protected. Let's check the permissions. Now I only have the view and edit permissions on this protected document because the sensitivity label has been changed to confidential. Let's go back to the folder. I will right-click the sample docx and run the Classify and Protect tool. I will change the label to Secret and select Protect with Custom Permissions. Select Reviewer, input User, Group, and Organization as James Brown, and click Apply. Now the file has been protected by Azure Information Protection. Let's double-click this file and open it with Word application. The file is protected as secret, and as you can see, the permissions are currently restricted. Only specific users can access this content. We can view the permissions, and the user has view and edit permissions on the protected document. This is protected by Azure Information Protection. Let's make an update on this document. Save and close the Word application. Now, the sample DOCX is automatically encrypted and protected by SkyDRM. Let's check the permissions. The user has all the permissions on this protected file from SkyDRM. Let's open it. This file is protected by both Azure Information Protection and SkyDRM. The usage is controlled by Azure Information Protection, and access controls are enforced by SkyDRM. This concludes Use Case 2, interoperable with Microsoft Information Protection, MIP, and integration with Microsoft 365.